AskRinde, what we're all about is we work with sellers. So we work with sellers primarily, landlords and also investors. And this is actually part of the three keys when it comes to learning how to actually sell your property correctly and one of the strategic ways that you can sell your property, but also as a buyer, how to actually acquire property. Hey everyone, welcome to the Your Home Guaranteed webinar. So make sure that you actually check in with us. If you can, turn your camera on. And also, if you're muted, just say hi. If you want to stay muted, that's fine. Just say hi so that we know where you're checking in from. We're actually going to go fairly quickly today. We have a packed episode. We have a special guest that's going to be joining us. So could you just share where you're from? If you're on the call already, just share where you're from. Check in.
Hi, I'm from New York.
Hi, how are you? Your name is Shasha?
Sasha.
Hi,
Yeah.
How are you? How you doing? Yes.
Good.
Anyone else? I think it's Kaloy. Hi, Kaloy. How are you? How you doing? Yeah, so we're actually going to be moving fairly quickly. We have a 30-minute webinar today. We have our guest that's going to be joining us. I actually wanted to open up this medium to have this webinar because we get so many people that reach out to us from around the country. Some of you may or may not know, I've been licensed for over 20 years, but I've actually also built a large digital footprint, and through my grants master classes and also rent to own. And one of the key things that I've learned over the years is, the value is in really relationships and also what you pour into people. So many times we've spent a lot of time really just structuring our brand and also looking to be able to help people, meaning that we made it all about them. So for example, if you check out our short form platforms, most of it is faceless. And that's simply because we wanted to make it about what people are looking for and what they needed. And so for this medium, the goal is to really try to help to make to bring our community together more, so that people can actually connect and start to actually work with us one-on-one. AskRinde, what we're all about is we work with sellers. So we work with sellers primarily, landlords and also investors. And sellers were once buyers. So we have a huge buyer network and a lot of buyer demand. But we work primarily with sellers in pre-selling their properties. So for the purpose of this particular episode, we're actually going to be sharing about something that's very important. But before we do, I want to basically just state the fact that there are three things that I've recognized and I've discerned over the years when it comes to real estate, and it comes to from those who are starting and those who are active and those who are aspiring. And there are three key ways in order to be able to sell your properties. Number one being rent to own. So rent to own, if you're renting and you're in the country, anywhere in the country, if you're renting, you need to learn rent to own. So I'll simply say that we do have a class that's going to be ending on the 27th of this month. Make sure you save yourself a seat and learn about rent to own. I started learning about this when I was 24, and I got my first property at 22. And then I actually I stumbled into rent to own. I did not know anything about it. It was actually through a real estate deal that went sideways that I learned about it, but it's been a game changer for me. It's changed everything for myself and my family. And I always say, because I remember when I was young, I didn't come from money. I didn't have anyone to be able to tell me or share with me, mentor me in real estate. And by actually discovering this, I realized that even if I didn't have all the money in the bank, I didn't have the money to buy a property, this was a way that I can actually start to control real estate. So if you're renting, you really need to learn this. I'm going to state that we have a free webinar. You can actually, we're going to drop a link in the description below, and also on the bottom of the video. You can check out our rent to own class if you like to. That's going to be ending at the end of the 27th of this month. The other thing is, I also want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, 888 Fair Offer. So if you need a quick cash offer for your home, you can actually reach out to them, 888 Fair Offer. I did mention that during this webinar, we will be actually sharing about some of our off-market properties. Like I said, we work with a lot of sellers, so we work a lot off-market. Many people ask the question, where are the properties? How do you find these properties? Well, these properties actually, we have relationships with sellers. Some of them are banks, some of them are private individuals, but many of our sellers are absentee owners, meaning that they live out of state, but they actually own in New Jersey. So, for example, this particular property on the left, this is a project that's actually in the process of being completed by April. This is actually new construction. I actually listed this property in 2018. This is in Bergen County. And the owner at the time was in foreclosure, and I helped him to be able to navigate that. And so now the new owner, which is a developer that I work with, has this, and it's going to be a 5 bedroom, absolute new build, beautiful property. I'll be sharing and featuring that. This particular property on the right, this property is in Union County, and this property is actually should be done by the end of this week. This is what I'm talking about. You're not going to find these properties on Zillow, and that's what we specialize in. We want to focus on finding off-market properties where there's low competition, so that you're able to actually get the ability to be able to get properties and not have to struggle. So let me just see here. I think I had someone pitch me in the chat. Just bear with me 1 second. Make sure. Okay, I see you. I see you, Kaloy. Thank you for that. So that's that. I'm going to actually be sharing. My assistant will share details on rent to own and how you can actually get connected with us on that. But I think that what I will do is go right into what we were going to share. We were going to talk about rent to own. We're also going to be touching, well, primarily on DSCR. And this is actually part of the 3 keys when it comes to learning how to actually sell your property correctly, and one of the strategic ways that you can sell your property, but also as a buyer, how to actually acquire property. The 3 ways that I've known over the years: rent to own, seller financing, and also DSCR are key ways to be able to enter in. Now, I will share that we do have one of our partners. We're going to be bringing more of our partners on the call and also on the webinars to be able to share, so you can actually get exposure to our network and see who's actually in the in our wheelhouse, so you can get help. One of the people that's on the call is Mike Santana. Mike, you want to come on camera?
Sure.
Us? Yes. So Mike is actually, I can say so much about him, but he's actually one of my key mortgage partners, and we've worked together and we're working together actively. We have some of our clients that are actually coming on the call, or if they're not on the call already, but he's a specialist. He's been doing this for years, and he does have a lot of in his arsenal, but he's also very truthful. Many times you find in his business, there's a lot of yeah, it's like you're chasing rabbits. People give a lot of hope, and especially when it comes to first-time buyers. And so one of the things I've appreciated about Mike is that he's been a straight shooter. As I said, I've been exposed over the years, so I've worked with a lot of different people. But I actually like to have a core network of people that are not only honest and truthful, but also those that actually will deliver. So Mike, feel free to basically share about your specialty and how you can help, and how financing and what you've seen can really help to pivot, because many people are facing, as you know, lack of affordability.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit about myself. I've been doing this for about 10 years now. I've been with Cross Country Mortgage for about 2.5 years. We're the top lender in the country, so any program available, we pretty much have. We have first time home buying programs, we have first time home buying grants, we have FHA, VA, conventional. For first time home buyers, you can put as little as 3% down. Conventionally, FHA, you can put as little as 3.5% down. And that's the big thing that I run into with a lot of people. A lot of my borrowers, where they think they have to put 20% down, and
Really?
that's not the case. You can put a little as 3% down. And then obviously you work with a good real estate agent, like Rindy. Then you could actually come to the closing where all you're bringing is just the down payment. Because you can get a seller concession or a seller credit. We also give lender credits as well. So we pretty much offer everything imaginable. There's not pretty much one loan that we cannot do. The DSCR, like Rindy talked about, we could do that as well. For investors, but the big thing that we work on is just pretty much FHA conventional loans. That's our wheelhouse with VA. I do a lot of VA loans as well. But the big thing that borrowers need to do, is they need to get pre-approved, right? Because they don't really have an idea of how much they can afford. Some people think they can afford way less. They have too much debt or student loans. We have different types of programs where, FHA, you can count half a percent of what the minimum payment is for your student loans. especially if they're deferred. So there's a lot of people out there that we talk about that didn't think they are ready right now to buy something, and then all of a sudden they talk to me or and get pre-approved, and they realize, hey, you know what, I can afford this because obviously renting is a lot of money as well, and you're paying 100% interest on that. You're paying out somebody else's mortgage. So if you're paying $3,000, $3,500 a month in rent, you could find a nice condo or townhouse or even a two-family where you find a tenant that pays for half your rent, maybe 75% of your rent.
Right.
And even though the rent's even though your mortgage payment, let's say, is $5,000, but you get 2,500 to $3,000 on the other side. Well, now your mortgage payment is the same as you were paying for rent, but at least you own the property. And then, like, you could talk to Rindy about, with houses appreciating as fast as they are,
Yeah.
you can look into taking out, a HELOC on the property to go invest into another property. And that's something that, obviously when we can sit down and you can talk to, where people don't realize what they can afford.
Yeah.
So, and that's the biggest thing, is to get a real pre-approval, not a pre-qualification where it's verbal. Like, have a loan officer do a soft pull on your credit that we can do, so it doesn't affect your credit score. And get your pay stubs in, your taxes in, your W-2s, and then I could give you an accurate pre-approval, as high as you can go, and as comfortable as you want, right? Like, even though you're qualified for, let's say, a $700,000 house, maybe you don't want to go up that high. So maybe you want to stay somewhere in the neighborhood of, 55, 550,000. And that may be your monthly payment, may be, $4,000, 4,500. And that's the sweet spot that you want to stay in. So that's the biggest thing that I've been seeing, especially now with the competitive market, with the way the market's been going, with rates going up and down. I mean, rates change, 4 or 5 times a day now with
Yeah.
with how everything's going on. So, you know, somebody in our industry came up with a cute saying, marry the house, date the rate, right? Because you could always refinance. And with cross country, what we do is, if you buy something with us within, let's say the rates, 6.5%. Let's say a year from now, rates go down to 5.5%. As long as you come back to us to do that refinance, we offer a $1,500 lender credit. So that helps play towards your closing costs. So make sure refinance even cheaper. Um, so that's something that we run, and it's good for 3 years. So that, just because, like I said, we're one of the biggest lenders in the country, the biggest, we can offer that to our clients that can come back to us.